Hello, hello, and welcome to Season 6, Episode 24 of the Otafest podcast. If this was your favorite anime, this would be the final episode. But this isn't anime, and this isn't the final episode. And with me on this non-final episode, I have Jay and Nancy.
I'm Jay.
I'm Jay. I'll be
I'm Jay.
dead before I let you take that title from me.
I am Spartacus.
Is it a title if it was a given name?
Yeah.
Yes.
A name is a title.
When is a
of-
title not
titles
a
are
name?
given.
Was your name not given to you? Did you have to scavenge it?
But at what point do you give yourself titles and names?
The moment you want to. When
When
you're
you're
able to.
European nobility.
European?
Must be fun being nobility.
I mean, yes.
Or like if you just feel, sometimes it's just a feeling when you get a title. It's like, I am Angelo, drinker of beers and watcher of animes.
Ooh,
I
I
am
like that.
here to vibrate my vocal cords.
In that
for
way,
you.
I've had, I guess a lot of nicknames that you could... Nicknames are titles. They sort of confer a certain level of notoriety or essence upon your being.
What was your nickname in high school?
I didn't have a specific nickname in high school, but from other places I've had,
Do you get like a radio call sign at work?
yes, I do, but
Do you get on the CB and you're like, breaker 19, breaker 19?
we got a child that comes down the hallway.
J.
Take him out.
Damn.
Get down, Mr. President. Yeah. I don't know. I've had some weird ones. I've had some weird titles bequeathed upon me that aren't just weird in-game things, but what was it? I don't know why, but there was one where it was the idea Viking, or
Idea Viking.
uh
Is it because you plunder and pillage the ideas of others?
nothing is original. After all. And there's something to do with a cupcake, but I can't remember what it was.
Huh. Now I really want to know what that
But
one
I think
is.
the source of it was that day I wanted a cupcake, and I expressed it thoroughly, and someone gave me a title relating to a cupcake, but I can't remember what it is exactly.
How did you express thoroughly?
I
you wanted a
was
cupcake?
incessantly demanding a cupcake.
Oh.
I, J, the Viking of ideas,
Devourer of cupcakes.
demand a cupcake.
I
If
state
I do
verily
not have a cupcake,
that I require
then
a
I will
cupcake.
pillage.
Although my current kind of fixation right now, in COVID times, is I would like a cinnamon bun, like a good cinnamon bun. But I don't.
What
I don't
defines
normally
a good cinnamon bun for you?
one which is tasty?
Well, some people have very discerning taste. Some people are very
Has a
much
bit of
the
icing,
must
has
have
to be
cream
soft.
cheese icing.
Has to be. I don't know about cream cheese. It just needs to have icing.
Well, okay, so I'm just
can't
telling you what
remember.
I've heard. So some people require cream cheese icing. Some people require straight icing, no cream cheese. But the kind of icing made
cream
with
cheese
milk.
icing is way better than regular icing.
I'm good with either.
It's not even
I
a
just
contest.
like it. It's the texture. It's the
I'm not a
texture.
cream cheese fan, so I actually don't like cream cheese icing
Texture
very
of the
much.
bun itself.
More for me.
A
More
I
for
guess.
you.
a good amount of cinnamon sugar. Should be warm. Served warm would be nice. I don't mind raisins, just for a textural change.
Oh, interesting.
Don't really care for walnuts that much, but if they're there, I won't really complain. Just, I don't know if it really adds anything for me. And yeah, that would be nice. But like I said, I want a good one. I could go to a Timmy's, but I don't want to go to a Timmy's for one, you know?
The cinnamon buns at Timmy's are disappointing.
Let's not go down that path.
But yeah,
of
I
disappointment.
want a cinnamon bun once every 5 years is what it feels like.
So you're coming up on your 5th year away from cinnamon buns?
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. I can't remember if it was last winter, late Christmas, late 2019 or early 2020. Me and Dio were out in a mall, And remember when you could still go to those?
No.
And we walked past a Cinnabun, and the smell just like absolutely filled the hallways of the mall.
Normally they
And
do.
I was like, man, I could totally go for one of those right now.
Did you?
Let me just double check how many calories that is. So I whipped up my phone,
Oh no, that's a mistake.
and I was like, how many calories
You're
are in a
never eating
Cinnabun
again.
cinnamon roll?
Yeah, you're never eating one ever.
And it was like 600 calories, and I was like, that's a lot, but yeah, that's kind of reasonable for what it is. And then it said serving size, like 1/4
Right.
of a bun, and I was like, wait, what the
There's
fuck?
another thing about cinnamon buns. Well, specifically, you mentioned like Cinnabun, which we don't have.
I say those numbers,
We
I
don't have
can't remember what the
Cinnabuns, we
exact
have
numbers are.
Cinzio,
Just-
but the point still stands. I do not understand how a Cinzio exists in malls. So, like, okay, let me set up this premise. Cinzio is for people who don't know for some reason, is a cinnamon bun bakery that also happens to sell, like, I think average tasting coffee. And what their whole menu is essentially cinnamon bun centric types of goods, right? So they have cinnamon twists, they have mini Cinnabuns, they have standard size cinnamon buns, and I'm sure maybe a couple other things that don't really matter because that's not really their major marketing. Anyway, I don't understand how they exist, not because I don't think they're good, but because cinnamon buns are fairly cheap. Like you sell one, you sell a box, whatever. Someone's not giving up more than $10-15 at the very most. Number two, I don't know anyone who goes for cinnamon buns that hard. I don't know anyone who says I like a cinnamon bun every week or every month. It's not like French fries or something like that, where someone would more likely have that kind of fast food, that kind of indulgence several times a month versus cinnamon buns. I just don't know anyone who does that. Number three, Cinzio is only found in malls. Malls rent is not cheap. I do not understand how they pay their people, how they pay the rent, and while the food is cheap to make, and I can postulate that there is like a high amount of profit to be made off of each order, I don't think it's a high enough net profit, and it doesn't make sense to me.
So I have a theory about that, actually. The theory is that no one ever thinks about specifically going out of their way to get cinnamon buns, but when you're in a mall and you smell it, it makes you want one. So it's one of those
Yes.
things where it appeals to passersby. It doesn't appeal specifically to people who are like, I'm going to go out and get a Starbucks today, or I'm going to go out and get an XYZ today.
What happened to me where I smelled it and I was like, Jesus Christ, I want that so bad
that,
right now.
exactly
That
that
is their
reaction.
business
I get
practice.
that, but here
Yeah.
again.
Also, I just looked it up.
Angelo, did you buy 100 cinnamon buns? Did you buy 50 cinnamon buns? Did you even buy $20 worth of cinnamon buns?
Like I said, I was absolutely going to buy 2 cinnamon buns, one
That's
for me,
maybe
one for Dio.
$10.
Maybe 4 to bring some home.
Like
And until I looked it up, and I actually just looked it up, so it is 420 calories, which sounds really normal. This is very reasonable. Serving size, half a roll. Who the fuck eats half a
Right.
cinnamon roll?
But that's not.
No one.
But that's not my
I can
point.
tell you
My
no
point
one.
is that unlike a Starbucks, for example, where there's like regular customers on the daily, cinnamon bun stores such as Cinnabun or Cinzio don't really fall into that category. Number two, I've never seen a rush at Cinnabun during a lunch hour. Like, I've worked retail in malls. I've been around the Cinzio areas. Never seen a rush. Never seen people waiting. Never seen anything that would resemble steady business. I don't understand. I do not get
I
it.
feel like every time I walk by one, I see 2 or 3 people in line.
Yeah, I'd say.
No.
I'd say I see like,
I doubt it.
a handful of people.
Nope.
But also it's
I would bet money.
pandemic. People aren't going to malls as much anyway.
I'm not talking about pandemic. I'm not talking about pandemic times. I'm talking about like all time.
The Cinnabun places are unique in that they're the kind of mall food that no matter what time of day it is, you can expect to see someone there. Like, you walk by the New York Fries or Taco Bell or something, and people are not going to be there. But, like, Cinnabun Place at, like, 7:30 in the evening.
Nope.
And it's like, yeah, look at that. There's like 2 people there.
I will also say that I often see like the big dozens that are bought for either like just to give to teammates at work, you know, back in the day when you actually saw your teammates, or as like that thing that everyone brings to the office to share anytime around Christmas or in cold weather. It's just a thing. It happens a lot in the office.
I can get that with like
I don't
Timbits
think that this
or
is
donuts.
the one thing that props up their business.
I've
but...
literally never had anyone bring in cinnamon buns to a place that I've worked.
That makes me think of something. So Jay, your postulate is that despite these being an obviously valuable and desirable thing, people don't often think about that.
I don't know anyone who's like I've never known in the times that I've worked in malls way back when during retail. Like I've never heard of someone. Hold on.
Jay, what if?
Never have I ever heard of somebody who was sort of like, I'm a regular at a cinnamon bun place where I'm a regular for the coffee, never see their coffee cups. I'm a regular for their food, barely ever see those. I'm not saying that they don't get business. They obviously get business. So if you're going to try and argue that to me, that's not the point at all.
No. What if I've got a different business model for you? What if for $120 a year, I could get you a cinnamon bun subscription?
I wouldn't want that.
No?
I really wouldn't.
No?
I told you, I have it
Well,
once.
what if you spent it on Xbox Live?
Did you not hear the point about having it once
I'm
every
trying
5
to
years?
segue to a different
You
topic.
can't have it. I will die on this hill.
On the topic of gaming, I believe there have been a couple of news items this week.
So can you guys believe that Gaben came out and said that Valve is actually working on multiple games?
I feel like I don't believe that.
Same. I don't fucking believe it for a second. I'll believe it when I see it, Gabe.
Gabe's like, surprise, I already have your money.
He does.
Your bank account
yeah,
is literally in my name.
Like, Valve, for the longest time, they were the sweetheart of the gaming scene. Like, you could look at like EA and be like, oh, they're the scummiest gaming company, or you could be like, oh, Activision, they're not that great, and EA is really digging their. And you could look at Ubisoft and be like, wow, fuck Ubisoft, what the fuck? And you could look at Bethesda, and Bethesda was like, here's the Fallout 76. Mm-hmm. Of course, by that point in time,
I'm gonna put it out there,
Valve wasn't looking any better than Bethesda.
I'm gonna put it out there that I did not expect Valve to announce that they're making any more games, period.
Same.
Like not that they don't make good games. Obviously, they make Alex and stuff, and that's sort of the direction that they're heading into. Apparently, they want to make some single player stuff.
For the most part, Valve games have been consistently excellent quality. Artifact be damned.
I think again,
I don't know what they were smoking when they came up with Artifact.
It's just,
but for the most part, Valve games
they
are good.
They were at a point where like everyone expected them more or less to get out of the game dev business, essentially, because they just made so much money off of Steam as a distribution service. Obviously, 3 had hiccups that caused its failure. Alex was a revelation.
There's no way,
but not really the same thing as what people were expecting. It's a really good game. I never played it, but I know enough that it's very enjoyable, even though I still have some of like personal gripes from not playing. But I would say that it comes as a surprise as a whole. But if they end up making some interesting stuff, I'm not gonna say no. I'm just curious as to how dedicated they are to these projects. Like, are they willing to really follow through, or will they be like, yeah, well, at the end of the day, if we don't make it, we're still making millions of dollars a year, so that's great.
Valve has consistently been fairly good, even on consumer consumer rights. Like sometimes they really have to get their arm twisted about it, like from Australia and the EU for digital refunds. But the fact that it exists at all now, thanks Valve. I hope other companies do that too. The fact that graphics drivers on Linux are at all acceptable, yeah, thanks Valve. That's very good. You legitimately led the charge on that. The fact
Which
that
I really appreciate.
that VR isn't only owned by Facebook, the fact that they invested enough to actually make competing headsets and products and like frameworks for it. Yeah, VR is good, kind of because of Valve. But at the same time, it's like, Valve,
I don't know.
do something that honestly, this is the sentiment of most of the gaming community. Valve, do something that we care about.
I actually another thing that I actually like about game distribution companies in general, like, well, I say in general, but like GOG and Steam are pretty good for it, is that they bring back and make it compatible to play old classics, such as
They can.
I recently played the original Day of Defeat, which is a Half-Life mod.
Wow.
Because our friend wanted to play for his birthday. It was a great game.
Wait, the original Day of Defeat, like the actual, like the gold source version.
Yes.
Wow.
It was $5 still, which
Wow.
was
Still?
I feel a little bit upset about that for some reason.
I'm pretty sure that's like 50 cents on the Steam.
I was like, it should be free at this point almost, but whatever. But it was still fun, and I can tell you that probably without it being distributed on a major platform such as Steam, I probably would not have been able to play without compatibility issues. Even though
Fair.
Windows is, fairly compatibility friendly, we're talking about a game
Honestly,
that's
last
like
time I wanted to play
25 years
PUBG.
old or something.
Yeah. Last time I wanted to play PUBG, I had freaking compatibility
Yeah,
issues.
but that's PUBG.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm thoroughly surprised by the announcement. I think it's a pleasant surprise, but we'll see. We'll have to hold reserve judgment until it actually comes along.
The thing is, I don't think I can ever actually hate Valve, because like I was saying, they've done consistently good things.
Generally, yeah.
It's just that in the case of Linux, that's like realistically for Valve, for Steam on Linux, that's 1% of the ecosystem. Less than that, actually. For VR headsets, it's just as niche. Like, Valve has to do something for people to actually care. Like Portal 3, Team Fortress 3,
Left 4 Dead
fucking-
3.
like, if they start counting to threes,
They'll make the billions.
or you don't even have to count to 3, Valve. Just come up with a catchy title. You could be like Left 4 Dead Forever, or Team Fortress Forever, or Duke Nukem Forever. No, not that one.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Another thing, talking about like game distributors, in a manner of speaking, Xbox Live raised their price to double for their Live Gold Xbox Live Gold subscriptions, and then they came back down to the regular price, the non-double price, because they got a lot of
Were they
backlash.
expecting Sony to follow suit?
I don't know why the original decision was made, other than the fact that it's pretty obvious that they're trying to push the Xbox Game Pass stuff as a very viable service, which it already is. But I don't know why they thought doubling Xbox Live Gold subscriptions were going to be a good thing in the eyes of any consumer, or like, I do not get it. I don't understand the business.
I mean, the existence of Xbox Live Gold, like the subscription, is not a good in the eyes of any consumer. Just the fact that you have to pay anything at all to use the internet that you already pay for.
I mean, that's a point I've made several times, yes.
Yes.
I pay for the internet. Don't you dare make me pay for my internet again. If you do, I will find a
Yes.
different service. It's pretty easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, When it comes to things like inflation, what is an acceptable rate hike for you guys? Like for any service that you currently subscribe to, what is an acceptable, like, oh, this year they're raising it by X
It depends
dollars?
on when the last time they raised it was.
Let's say like every 3-4 years.
I don't. A lot of people use the inflation argument on video games to being like, why are video games still $60 US? Why hasn't Xbox Live increased in price? This, that, and the other thing. And the reality is, when it comes to like video games, realistically, most of their development budget is marketing. When you have more users, the costs don't scale linearly, and over time, the cost of infrastructure does go down. So when you have the economies of scales, because the amount of people playing video games today is much, much, much larger than the amount of people playing video games 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. Like, video games are legitimately the largest entertainment sector. It's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than TV. You do not have more customers than you do in gaming. And so, for the cost of a digital download code, they have another customer. Like, they make their game, they make their product, and then they just have to make enough sales to recoup their investment. And everything after that is pure profit. So inflation, while it can eventually be factored into it, the reality is the price per user to the company has gone down. The profit per user should have gone up over the last 20 years.
It depends on how they handle the back end, obviously. Like with staff and having to pay salaries out and then actual profitability.
And infrastructure upgrades are always expensive.
They
of course
are,
they are, but that's part of the cost
are-
of doing business.
But I don't. It's hard to argue whether that's like that argument is possible for Microsoft, where they are their scale is so large that yes, like it's like cost scales, but it also scales down because of size.
No, I don't think you understand my point. My point is that when you hire people to do your infrastructure upgrade, if you need to re-architect the entire server-side backend, I'm not saying you have to change code. I mean you have to re-architect the actual infrastructure that backs everything that you're serving to people. That costs a lot of time and money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
We're actually going through that at work right now. But the interesting thing is, like, if you have a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old system, like architecture, like even at the data center, we have had multiple racks of infrastructure and equipment scaled down to one or two appliances. Like, that's the difference that 10 years has made. Before, like 10 years ago, you were lucky if you were getting 12 cores with hyperthreading in a single box. Now that's child's play. You can get that in a fucking Mac Mini. You can get dual socket 120 cores in a single box. You could virtualize an entire operation in a single box now.
Did you migrate all of the things that were running on those racks to those boxes?
Oh, we've still got Pentium 3 boxes hanging around.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
wow, that takes me back. Pentium 3s.
Like, that's the thing. Every time one of these really old servers dies, basically, our infrastructure team has already taken the disks. They've already imaged the disks remotely, and they have them sitting ready to be spun up in a virtual machine.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Like, it's just, wow, that the RAID battery in that one's died again? Again? You know what? That thing is 15 years old, 20 years old. Just unplug it. That's what it's coming down to sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, the actual software that was running on that older infrastructure, oftentimes the business makes the call to like port it forward or have it completely rewritten, depending on which way is actually the most viable and most efficient, to the new architecture. So, for instance, I was part of a project that used to have, like, at the time it was like, oh, we were written to be cloud native, blah, 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 blah. And then AWS over time started offering newer and better things. And so being able to migrate that forward into something like, oh, this is a cluster of virtual machines. Oh, but it's elastic. Oh, but it auto scales. Oh, but it does this and that. And that, like, even just moving it to a different architecture means you have to change the software, and that's already its own cluster of worms, let's just say. But I'm not saying that I'm excusing them for raising the prices. What I'm asking is, what kind of a price hike would you as a consumer be comfortable with?
Honestly, like, here's the thing. The Xbox Live and PlayStation, what is it, PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now? I don't know what they call it. That is one of the reasons why I don't buy those consoles. Just straight up.
Yep.
Literally, no subscription for using the internet that I already pay for is worth it. And I understand that yeah, but you're paying for a service, and it's like, yeah, bundle that into the price of the game.
Exactly.
If I'm paying like $80 Canadian or $60 American for a game, they should have their online figured out.
I guess here's the thing: we're not trying to avoid answering your question. I think first of all, there's an acknowledgement to be had about everyone's personal situation could be different. Like, you know, what's financially acceptable, but
of course.
And I will say that I think the timing is just terrible because we're at a time where, like, obviously pandemic's still going on. People are recommended to stay at home, and gaming's exploded over the past year because of the restrictions that have been placed. Like, people who didn't really game as much before found a reason to game. People who gamed normally still wanted to game more now because they were like, hey, there's even more reason to try and get some friends into it, and like, it was a great time for that. With the whole Xbox thing raising their price, bad timing. People don't, like in the US especially, for example, don't have money to really be paying extra for this subscription, and obviously just you're taking away a potential outlet for people's frustrations and sort of life like issues that they may be experiencing right now by raising their price. I'm not saying that they were going to raise the price to a lot, well, although double is pretty high.
Double is a lot. That's pretty excessive.
Yeah, like for anything. Like if we said that Otafest was hiking their price double, that would mean
we're not.
We're not.
Just to make that clear. And I'm going to go so far as to say as we have no plans to hike it like double like that. But like that would make our convention a 3-digit pass for a 3-day weekend, which is not like there are events that are like that, but we're not going to be one of them because we understand the importance of accessibility in the community. We still have to try and survive and make sure that we're above board in terms of, you know, all that stuff. But it does come back again down to like Microsoft and what kind of profitability that they're quote unquote not seeing in order for them to try and make that push now. Again, I think the timing is terrible, is a big one. That's one that really miffs me. And the other one is just when it comes to that actual answer for the price, like, I don't understand why they couldn't really just look at it as like 25% or 50% at the most or whatever. Like you have to wonder why they quote unquote were trying to be ambitious about that price hike, right?
Yeah.
They could have also just done it right with the launch of the Xbox 5. Or the Xbox. I don't even remember what the new Xbox is called.
The Xbox
PlayStation 5, Xbox One X Series. I don't fucking know. Their naming is awful.
What I don't think it comes with. I'm sure maybe in later packages it does. But I'm surprised that buying you a console doesn't automatically get you a subscription.
Well, why would they do that when they can milk you for
Well, it doesn't
more?
have to be like a lifetime subscription, but it could be like a 6-month or 2-month or 3-month or 1 year, whatever it may be. They would barely lose any money on that, and they've started
games
to
that are
hook.
multiplayer only?
Yeah,
Like if you bought Call of Duty or whatever, it should absolutely come with like a 3-month trial code or something.
yeah. I got a trial code just for buying a Xbox controller for my PC.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that's wow.
I don't know. I haven't redeemed it yet, actually. But
Actually, I
will.
remember something about that. Microsoft sent me like an Xbox Live on PC trial something or other.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I don't fucking want that at all.
It's not that I don't want to, but it's more like I don't need that more games. We've talked about this before. I already have too many things that I want to play that I don't need to add a library of stuff that I don't want to play.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few games that pop right out at me that I need from the Xbox Game Pass. Like, the only one I can really think of is maybe Sea of Thieves, and I'd rather just own it. I don't really want to be part of a subscription perpetually paying for it.
But as far as games that pop out of you go, how's that Resident Evil 8?
The playable trailer, or as I used to call them, demos, which is short for demo,
Demonstration?
which means it comes from the Latin word demo, to try something before you buy something.
I'm pretty sure that was the Greek word for the people.
Oh.
Like the people play.
I thought you were calling. I thought it was like the democracy.
No, that's the people rule.
Oh. Anyway,
Man, when you talk about it that way, that almost sounds like communism.
it sure does.
What?
I don't know. Have you guys seen it? Any of the art? Or
I
any
watched
of
one of the trailers. I didn't play.
Right.
I didn't play the playable demo. What is it about vampire ladies and consistently being sexy?
I mean, that's the meme. That's the trope.
I think the setting looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like 1800s sort of. That's not medieval. That's not even close to being medieval.
A lot of the setting actually looks like Resident Evil 4, if you ask
17
me,
or 1800s
but
castle.
going even further back, yeah.
Yeah, there's like some serious like sort of gothic vibes to it a little bit. There's
Exactly.
like there's a really good environment. And here's the thing. I have never played a Resident Evil. Not because I don't want to, but most of the time they used to be on PlayStations. I've never owned a PlayStation. And then
Resident Evil 4 was on GameCube.
yes, I've never owned one of those either. And
Wow,
I know
you
that
missed out.
they're on like PC now, but I was never really interested in the whole like the Redfields or Leon or any of those kind of characters. But they're kind of getting away from that. Like I wanted to play I think it's RE7 Biohazard. I wanted to play that. I just haven't really gotten around to doing that. And 8 really looks like one I would really want to actually get my hands on for sure. Based on like the setting and like the characters that we've seen very briefly. Like they haven't really shown any of like weaponry and how you like progress and defend yourself and stuff like that. But the setting alone pulls you in so much. I'm still gonna wait. I'm not like whenever it comes out on PC, I'm not gonna get it day one, but I am going to get it. It feels like.
Fair enough.
That's how compelling the trailer is. It's like PT levels of compelling, which means we're never gonna get it. Just kidding.
No, this is Capcom, not Konami.
I know. Be safe. But yeah.
Not exactly, but yeah.
No, we'll be safe.
More safe than Konami.
We'll be safe. But yeah, like I don't know. There's been a lot of gaming news recently, and that kind of covers a lot of them. I haven't seen a lot else come across. I know Nancy can't really play games right now. Still, she's still waiting for her
Stop
laptop.
reminding me.
While I'm just playing games on the regular. It's nice. It's nice.
She's getting ready though.
Have you figured out what the ETA is yet? Have they given you anything?
2 weeks after I dropped it off at the shop, I called them and they said tech hadn't gotten to it yet. Will probably call me back in 2 days. 2 days later, they didn't call me back. 2 days after that, I called them and they didn't call me back. And then after that, they called me back to say it's not getting looked at yet.
Are you on the warranty
Cringing
program?
on the inside. It's within the warranty. It's within
Yeah,
the
because
first
you've had this
warranty.
very, very short, I feel like.
Very shortly, yes.
Like
It's
you've
only
had it
been
for
like
like
4
5.
months.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
You've had it for 4 months, and 2 months they haven't been looking at it.
Makes me sad. It does actually feel like it's been 2 months. Like it's been gone for almost 3 weeks, and now I'm
Right.
just distraught.
Do you
over
think
the
this
fact that
is
it's not there.
typical of their sort of repair shop generally, or do you think it's exacerbated by...
Honestly, I don't know. Is this
By outside
like I
factors.
swear that they were known for having pretty good service here, but I don't know
Right.
if this is typical.
Yeah,
know.
it's hard to say because they could have fewer technicians on at this time. They
Yeah.
could see an influx because people are at home using their devices more often, which means that they could break more often. Maybe lots of little things.
But in the meantime, you're getting ready for when it comes back. I hear you're modifying and prodding and poking your mechanical keyb.
Yes.
That's
yes,
a
I have been.
keyboard. For those not in the
It's
know.
a keeb. It's a keeb.
Keyb.
There's a couple things that, like, I really love my keyboard, I really do, but there are a couple things that it can be better at, and so I'm gonna fix those things. I ordered some new stabilizers.
Getting that lithium grease on the stabilizers.
Getting dielectric grease on everything. No, that's not what I'm doing.
Dielectric grease on the chicken wings.
Gross. I'm imagining you literally eating chicken wings with dielectric grease on it, and it is just not a good imagination. Oh God, gross.
Really brings out the flavor.
Oh. That's it. Nancy signing off. Good night. Angela broke her brain. Oh God. Okay. So I have a mechanical keyboard, as you both know, as I think I've mentioned before. And about a month and a bit ago, I had a hand injury that was really hard to, just like on all of the tendons in my hand.
Oh.
And I kind of found out that despite the fact that I absolutely loved that I had really, really heavy switches in my mechanical keyboard, they were kind of a bit too much for that particular injury to handle well. So what I was going to do is I was going to go and replace the springs inside for something a little bit lighter, as well as replace the stabilizers, because the stabilizers that come stock on that board are really rattly. So like usually that's the most apparent when you try hitting your space bar like on either end instead of anywhere near the center. You'll notice that it rattles a lot. And that's kind of a
I'm
thing
gonna
you'll notice
see.
too on any of the longer keys. So like the longer shift on the right and the enter in the backspace. You'll notice it, especially if you're not hitting those in the center. You're kind of just hitting them with your pinky.
I think my spacebar is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. I was going from one side, and the whole key was going down.
Yeah, that's good. Mine, the stock stabilizers on that particular keyboard are they're kind of, they do the job, but they're rattly. So I'm just gonna take care of that while I'm taking the whole thing apart anyway. If I'm gonna be putting new springs in there, I may as well, right?
So are you actually like disassembling the switch then to change out the springs?
I am. I'm gonna 3D print a switch opener.
Wow. I would have just replaced the switch.
Well, you could do that. I actually really like this particular housing and stem. Like, I really like the shape of the tactile stem on this one. So
Well, what kind of switch are they? Are they like
they're
cherries
Halo
or tails
Trues.
or?
They're Halo Trues. So it's
And you can't just order the lighter switch on their own?
Halo Trues don't come lighter. They are very heavy. These ones are almost, I think,
okay.
100 to bottom out.
Holy cow!
Yeah, but the actuation force is like 60. So it's a very stiff spring and it's a longer spring. So I'm gonna put a slightly shorter spring in. It's about 2 millimeters shorter, and that's going to make it a little bit easier to start the actuation. And when you bottom out, it won't be quite as heavy and it won't feel quite as cushiony, I guess.
Jesus Christ, though, 100 grams to bottom out. You must
To bottom
have like
out, the actuation is still around
fingers
60
with fucking
something.
biceps on them.
She has beefy digits.
I really like typing on this thing. Like, it's so nice, but just, hand injuries wise, I could probably put different springs in them, and it's fine. You're right. I could have just gone and like bought whole new switches, but buying springs is really cheap.
Yeah, that's fair. Like a Switch is like what, $1.50 a piece?
Maybe.
I would be surprised if like springs were like 5 cents a piase.
Oh, not even. I'm buying like
Yeah.
a bag of 120 springs, and I think it's less than $5. Oh, they're so cheap. But you know, I don't know. It'll be fun because I like doing things with my hands. So it'll be nice to just take all the keycaps off, clean everything out, take the switches out, and it's on a hot swap board, so I don't have to desolder them at least. So that's good.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And what I need actually is to see if I can find a switch puller, because a keycap puller is all good and dandy, but you can't pull your switches out with them. So I'm going to have to just root around and see if I have one. If I don't, this might be a delicate operation of using a very fine screwdriver and just being really careful not to scrape anything up.
Could you 3D print a switch puller?
Switch pullers have to be really strong, and they have to be really, really, like, thin, flexible metal is usually how they come.
Okay.
And the reason...
I'm pretty sure that I have one. You can have ones that do both. I have one in my hand right now because it came with one of my keyboards.
That's cool.
But yeah, it
That's
pulls
cool.
keycaps
I think I
and
only
switches.
have keycap pullers.
I'm surprised. I'm just sort of surprised that you don't have one, just because.
To be fair, I don't think I've had a reason to pull my switches out ever. So, yeah, you're right. I could have just ordered some very expensive, nice ones from Zeal, and I would have just dropped a pretty penny on it. But this one feels more like a project, and I think Angelo can understand when I say that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just nice when you make it literally yours.
Yeah, I'm not Frankenstemming, at least. I'm not like gonna Frankenstein my own switches together, which is how the Holy Pandas were made. I actually do like these stems quite a bit, and the housing has caused me zero issues. It's got the translucent one, so you know the RGB can shine through in all its proper glory. But yeah,
Nice.
looking forward to it.
I've been looking to get like on this topic real quick. I've been looking to get artisan keycaps.
They're bullshit
but
expensive.
my god, they are.
They kind of
like
they're
$50
crazy
for
expensive.
one.
Yeah, and it's like right now all I want to do is replace my escape key because everything else is fine.
If you ever start getting into fancy keycap sets, hit me up.
The escape key is one thing. Like, if it's like a sculpture keycap,
I mean,
the
yes.
escape key is great for that. Mm-hmm. But, like, if it was such a fancy-ass keycap where it's like, sometimes they're like a little ocean scene or like they've got like cherry petals like in
Oh
the
yeah, the
keycap
resin
or
ones
something.
with like the whole
I
beach
feel like
scene.
replacing the W key with that would be good.
Why the W key?
Because
Yeah.
it beckons you to go forward.
It beckons you forward. That's poetic. I like that.
Yes.
He's saying that like he ever looks down at his keyboard for anything other than like picking
I'm
out
an
food
absolute
from
pleb.
between
Of
them.
course I do.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I'm bad. I do not touch type. I'm bad.
I mean, I'm not going to shame you for that. Everyone seems to type their own way.
Yeah.
It's just going to be
I
awful if you
learned
ever
to
play
type
type racing.
by furiously typing MSN Messenger chats.
Ah, yes. We should have a type racer race one day.
I find okay. It's not that I never look down at my keyboard, but it's like I only look down at my keyboard if I can. For some reason, if I can see it, I will look at it sometimes. If I can't see it, I will never look at it and be super fine. But like being in like peripheral vision areas will make me look at it like maybe 10% of the time that I type.
Do either of you ever type with your keyboard? I'm going to say in the lap area, but like what I mean is like either in your lap or
No.
in like a pull-out
Hell
keyboard
no.
tray under your desk.
Hell no.
Really?
Every time I've had a desk
no.
with those pull-out keyboards, I remove that fucking tray just immediately. I hate them so much.
Is it because you're tall and you have long legs?
Yes.
Well, having it in my lap is also not comfortable either.
No?
Like, I don't know. Like, well, it's too close to your body.
How is it too
And then
close
you're
to
sort
your
of,
body?
you're sort of like, your elbow, but then your elbows sort of splay out. Like, I don't know. Like, that's how I feel like it's not a good typing position for my arms.
Okay.
But there's also like you can talk about like anything, but I think it also has to do with like the closer I try to keep my arms into my body. I'm not even saying I'm super built or anything, but like I feel like my biceps sort of get uncomfortably close to my body.
Interesting.
Like it gets a little squishy feeling.
I've been told that like ergonomics wise, you want to, if you're going to be at a desk all day, which I know like you're not, but I am, your elbows
I
are
am
supposed to be
sometimes.
around 90 degrees. And it's like, okay, well, I'm short and I'm pretty little, which means if I have my elbows at 90 degrees, my hands rest pretty comfortably in my lap. So I actually find that typing with my keyboard in my lap is pretty comfortable, but I do realize that everyone is built differently.
No wrist support.
I don't need wrist support.
I'm saying that, yeah, whether you need it or not, I'm saying that there is like demonstratively a lack of wrist support.
I have a little beanbag for wrist support when I'm playing FPS games.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, like that's the other thing. If I'm playing games on a keyboard, like especially like an FPS, no way would I ever play that with a keyboard in my lap. Or
That'd be
like
hard.
if the keyboard's on a little keyboard tray underneath, I don't know if that's necessarily something I would care about, but I definitely wouldn't do it on my lap. Because again, it's about bringing, like, I want, I bring you to like the idea of, for example, the chair that you would use at your office, and it presumably has arms, and then you like, whether it's, home office or whatever, and you just like, you rest your elbows on your armchair, and then sort of where my arms go past that makes sense to reach the keyboard, right? But if it's in my lap, it's sort of just like, I don't know. I'm doing it right now, like where I'm putting my hands in my lap and my elbows are still on the arms, and if I were to extend my keyboard out to here, I would be like, nah, would not do.
I've gotten on without having armrests like on a daily basis while working for the last 9 months. It's been an interesting shift.
Oh.
Apparently I just don't miss it.
No, I was just thinking that I don't think I've had an office chair without armrest for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe more. But I can get it. Like, sort of, you just, like, if I didn't have them, yeah, you just sort of evolve to not really think about it.
Yeah.
Change your behaviors a little bit.
Yep.
But
Apparently
if
I
they're
just don't
there,
miss
it's
them.
nice. Yeah.
It's interesting. Everybody has like very different personal ergonomics when it comes to how they game and how they sit at a computer. So I always find it interesting to see what people find they're most comfortable. Because like there's a guy at work. We had standing desks at the office. I know that he likes to stand, but he also likes to raise his desk so that it's at like chest height almost. And he will prop his elbows up on his desk.
Is he a T-Rex?
It's just, it doesn't look comfortable to me, but he does it every day. It must work for him.
Just imagine what he looks like typing.
That sounds ridiculous.
If the desk and keyboard wasn't there, so he's just there with his hands up to close to his chest level, and he's just wriggling his fingers.
Just aggressively typing.
Anyway, if you know any cheap keycap companies or something like that, send me their info. I wanna get some cool artisan keycaps for my cool keyboard, but expensive as hell.
I have an actual keycap set for sale. It's just, it won't look good on your board because you have a whiteboard.
I sure do. I only want, I do want artisanal keycaps, but I just wish they were $50 each. $20 I would do. $30 I would consider. $50, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Imagine covering an entire 110 key keyboard with artisan keys.
Right? That'd be so expensive.
It would almost be worth more than my car.
That's literally like, it'd be like $6 or $7 grand. It'd be almost the price of my computer.
Oh my god. Okay, so Jay's keyboard is predominantly white themed. I just imagined what it would look like if you had the fancy artisanal bronze keys, like as an entire set. It would just be like bronze shiny keycaps and then like the white frame around it. And I'm just like, that would actually look really good.
I would, as long as the actual lettering or whatever you want to call it
The legend?
would be, the legend would be translucent, so you can let white light shine through.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I would love to do that.
That would also make it so much more expensive.
Anyway, I'm sure everyone's tired of us talking about keyboards.
No, they're not.
So screw them, we're ending the episode. If we can't talk about keyboards, we're not talking about anything at all, okay? That's what you get.
Goodbye? No. Keep-bye.
That's the most aggressive ending we ever had. Goodbye.
Good night.
Get out of here. Till next time.